I love talking about freedom, not just here in Canada, but in China too. And we've got a story for you today that touches on both. You might recall my friend Joe Wang. When we were at the Sun News Network, I talked to him often. He's the boss of the new Tang Dynasty TV station, which is mainly in the Chinese language, which is a pro-democracy Chinese TV station to counter the Communist Party propaganda from China's official TV stations. Anyhow, Joe is based here in Canada. He fights for freedom back in China, but also here. Enough preamble. Here's my conversation with Joe Wang when I visited him at his studio yesterday. I'm here in the studios of the new Tang Dynasty TV, NTD TV. You may not know that name if you don't watch Chinese language cinema or TV, but you will remember my friend Joe Wang, the president of NTD TV. Great to see you, Joe.
So nice to have you here.
It's nice to be in your natural habitat. This is such a huge operation. I had no idea.
Thank you for coming.
Well, it's my pleasure. I mean, besides the Chinese language news, you also do children's programming, anime?
Oh, yes, and drama series. And, of course, we do community news and documentaries, you name it.
It's huge. You gave us a quick tour of the premises. How many folks do you have working here altogether?
Well, about 100.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Well, I appreciate the brief tour, but we are here for serious business. You and I know each other from the days of the Sun News Network.
Right.
You would talk about being a democracy activist, both here in Canada and your family back in China, and how they actually threatened you through your family to stop being a democracy activist. Is that how you would describe yourself, someone who wants to bring freedom to China? Is that one of your goals besides running a business, to actually increase freedom?
Yes, besides running a business, I think it's more important for people to have access to free information, uncensored information. I think Chinese people globally, including the people in China, they deserve to have access to free press as what Canadians deserve. So what we want to do in NTD TV is to bring uncensored information to Chinese people globally.
That's amazing. Is it all in Chinese, or is there some English language programming too?
We do have limited English and French language programming.
Now, before we get to the news that brought us here today, I want you to tell a story you told me once before about how you were threatened with a phone call from mainland China by the secret police. Can you tell us that story for 1 minute? And the reason I'm mentioning that, viewers, is because you'll understand what happened to Joe recently in Toronto when you understand the way he is being watched by the Chinese Communist Party. Can you tell me that story again that you told me before?
Sure, that was a couple of years back when my brother, who still lives in China, his daughter was expecting a baby. So when I received his phone call, I was like, the baby arrived. So I was so happy, and so we were talking. But his tone right off the bat, I thought, oh, there's something wrong, because and then I realized that there was somebody beside him. So then I told my brother, I want to talk to the guy. So basically, he gave the phone to the security police, and I was told by the guy saying that you should tone down your volume of criticizing China. Of course, I was not criticizing China. I was criticizing the communist dictatorship, and so that was not allowed in China, because everybody has to be praising the communist government, not criticizing it.
Now, the fact that this Chinese security policeman went to your brother's hospital room, or was it the home, the day that they were having a baby, that's obviously designed to intimidate. There could be no other purpose for that.
Exactly. So of course, I was concerned about my brother. I'm in Canada, and so my life is safer than my brother in China. So I told the guy, the security personnel, that don't do anything to my brother, because otherwise I will just break this news to the whole world. So he was not happy to hear that, but
You know what? You have a tremendous amount of courage, especially when your family are de facto hostages back there. I hope you go from strength to strength, Joe, and you continue to tell the truth fearlessly. Let's talk about what happened recently here in Toronto. I've had just a very quick tour of your operations. They're huge, they're legitimate, they're popular. You have so many Canadians working here. It's amazing. I didn't know you were such a big deal, Joe. You carry yourself very humbly, and you're a bit of a tycoon. And you were invited by the staff of Canada's Finance Minister, Joe Oliver, to go to an announcement that is of interest to you. It was announcing a Chinese currency trading hub. Tell me about the announcement and tell me why you were invited. I know why you were invited because you cover Chinese news. Tell me about the invitation.
Well, we got an invitation from Joe Oliver's office saying that our minister will be helping launching this the currency trade hub first in North America. So you can trade renminbi, this is Chinese currency, with Canadian dollars. So our viewership in Canada, the Chinese, they have relatives in China. They come back and forth, China and Canada. So they will be very much interested in this. Currently, it's important.
But more importantly, you were officially invited by the Finance Minister of Canada to a public speech. Am I right?
That's right.
So you went there, and where did it happen? Was it,
it was 2 weeks ago, Monday, on the 23rd of March. It was in downtown Toronto, Metro Convention Center. So our reporters went, and then as soon as they want to register, and they were told to leave. Because
who told them to leave? The finance minister invited them. It was at the Toronto Convention Center. It's not like they were in the embassy or consulate of China. Who told them to leave, Joe?
Well, the organizer is Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. So that's
like all banks, they're controlled by the Communist Party.
That's right. So they were the organizer, and that's their event, they said. So they decided who can come, and we told them that was the minister's office invited us, and our reporters were told that besides the minister, the Chinese ambassador will be here, the consul general in Toronto will be here. They won't be happy to see you. Please leave.
So this Chinese bank, based in China, operating here in Canada under Canadian laws, Canadian rules, became actually a political arm of the Communist Party. That's how I read it, because they kept you. Did they give you a reason other than they don't like your politics? Like, you're obviously a legitimate journalist. You have a tremendous news organization. You have a great track record of journalism. You were invited by the Minister of Finance himself. The only reason I can think of that you were kept out was because they don't like the fact that you support democracy in China. Did they give you a reason other than, well, I guess they said the Chinese authorities don't like you. Did they actually say that?
They did. We got it on tape. Huh. So, that's a good enough reason for an event in China to block reporters. So they function the same.
It's outrageous to me that they are importing that kind of Chinese censorship and political abuse to Canada. It's bad enough that they treat 1.2 billion Chinese people that way, but to bring that long arm of censorship and bullying here, I find that offensive as a Canadian. Now, what have you done? What have you done since you were kicked out of that Canadian event? Have you registered a protest with anyone?
Yes, we registered to the Government of Canada and to the Prime Minister's office and to the Foreign Affairs office and to Mr. Joe Oliver's office.
And have you had any response from the Government of Canada?
Not yet.
Well, I hope they take it seriously. I understand the Government of Canada wants to increase trade and harmonious relations. I understand that, and I think that is in Canada's interest. But along with trade, we have to stand up for who we are. Right. And we are a free, democratic, liberal society with a pluralistic view of, you can have a range of opinions. Yes. And it offends me as a Canadian, Joe, that orders from China are coming here to censor you. I find that infuriating. What are you going to do?
Well, we just continue what we have to do. The fact that they're so scared of us, that means we're doing something right for the Chinese people.
Yeah.
So we just have to continue to do what we have to do.
Yeah. Joe, I remember a couple of years ago on the Sun News Network, you were one of our Freedom Fighters of the Year. Because of that incident where the secret police tried to bully you with your brother on the phone, this is more proof to me that you love Canadian values of freedom more than most Canadians. And that makes me so proud to call you my friend. Great to see you again.
Thank you so much, Ezra.
My pleasure, Joe. Keep up the fight. All right, there you have it. Joe Wang telling us about what happened when he was invited by Finance Minister Joe Oliver to attend a speech announcing a new currency trading hub. Now, I asked Joe if he would share us the video footage he mentioned of these agents blocking his reporters from attending this event. And here he sent it with English subtitles.
因为除了他以外，我们还有罗大使会参加，还有这边的薛领事会参加。我想他们如果看到你们，可能不会很高兴。
So there's the video that Joe shared with me, subtitled in English, showing clearly how officials from the bank, this government-owned bank from Communist China, were keeping Joe's reporters out. And you heard the explanation, because some Communist Party boss doesn't want to see Joe's reporters. And you know what? I'm sure that's true, because if this were in China, Joe and his reporters would probably be thrown in jail or worse. But this is not China, this is Canada. And Joe and his reporters are Canadian citizens, and they are free to report as they wish. In fact, they had a specific invitation from our Canadian Finance Minister, Oliver, to attend. This was a disgraceful event. Now, I put this to the bank in question. I could not find any media contacts. Their website is quite rudimentary, despite the fact that they are one of the largest banks in the world. So I contacted the bank's ombudsman in Canada, and I put to her the questions. Does she have another side to the story? Are there other facts in question here? I basically wanted to give her a chance to defend the conduct that Joe reported and that I saw with my own eyes on video. I don't think there's an explanation other than what I've said. This is the Communist Party of China trying to rough up and block journalists in Canada who are critical of the Chinese government. If I hear back from the bank, I will let you know. Something tells me I won't. For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.